Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of OP Radio. I'm your host, Mac. We've got some very valued and interesting Optimism Collective contributors, members here to speak with today. So without further ado, I'd like to allow them to introduce themselves. Let's start with Alex. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, everyone. This is Alex from Charmverse. I am one of the co-founders of Charmverse. Charmverse is a Web3 community operations platform. Some think of us as a Web3 Notion, a Web3 discourse. A little bit background about me. I've been in tech for a long time. I do recognize that song, I think, in high school or college. So I started off as a developer working for a defense contractor, building software that you put on military drones. That was a long, long time ago. In about 10 years ago, started my first company, and Charmverse is my third company. And my past two companies have been in the AI space. So Charmverse is our first foray into Web3, but it's very excited to be able to build this worldwide computer and building a collaboration engine on top of it.
Thank you, Alex. So did I hear correctly that Charmverse is your third company?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Wow. Well, third time's a charm, as they say, right?
Nice one.
Okay, let's have Mr. Gunna go next. Gunna, you want to introduce yourself to the folks on OP Radio and share as much or as little as you comfortable are sharing about your background?
Sure. I'm Gunna. I've been in the space for like 5 years already. I founded Ethernet, but it's a project that migrates Web2 builders to Web3, especially on the senior level. And then I got involved with Optimism governance and ended up leading operations for Grants Council.
Awesome. And that's what currently occupies much of your time is leading operations at the Optimism Grants Council.
Yes, I did operations. I also am a reviewer there for proposals. I was lucky enough to review Charmverse proposal back in March. They are a grantee from us. And I also am part of the Eternal DAO Council. So they are both my job right now.
Awesome. Well, Gunna, I just want to thank you, and the whole collective would like to thank you for the excellent work you've been doing at the Grants Council. And we're going to talk a little bit more about, I'm very interested to hear more about your experience there. But first, let's get into Charmverse. Alex, I think you had a very good sort of elevator pitch for Charmverse. It's basically like Notion for Web3 communities. I wonder if we could delve a little bit more into the details of what that actually means. So how is Charmverse different from, say, a Notion that people might be familiar with?
Yeah, sure thing. So maybe I'll dive back into my history a little bit. So in my company before Charmverse, I was running a team at a company called X.AI, actually. X.AI, which Elon now have bought the IP, including not the IP, the brand. But that said, we were 60 people, and we spent a lot of time thinking about how do we empower this group of people? How do we create decentralized decision making? How do we push decision to the people who are actually doing the work in a startup context? So we ran a bunch of experiments, which actually a lot of them sound and feel like what many DAOs were doing. So when we jumped into Web3, which got me really excited about this idea of decentralized community, but how do we really empower them and having blockchain and token enabling them to really scale. But then, of course, as we looked at what are the tools that are powering the various community, which is to me a little bit disappointing that Discord is the primary tool that most community use. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a good tool. I think it's great to have chats, but not everything is a nail, even though you're a hammer. So for Charmverse, we think that the DAOs, creators or brands that have set a digital asset that are building a community around them deserve a collaboration platform that is built and designed for them. So yeah, besides like why would someone need a Web3 Notion? Well, letting you do things like sign in with your wallet natively, being able to grant access or assign roles based on the digital collectible that you have in your wallet. So you can say, automatically gets the role of a core console if you hold 100 OP plus this membership NFT. So that you can really mix and match how do we grant access to different parts of the community platform. We also have a dedicated system for proposal, which is currently primarily used by the Grants Council as an intake and processing for grants. And we have a dedicated forum as well. And then finally, letting individual member to represent themselves using existing Web3 identity that you already have. So our profiles automatically populate if you have ENS, if you have Lens, if you have various POAPs or NFT that you want to show off. All those things are built to enable relationship building within a DAO or a Web3 community.
Very cool. And Alex, obviously some of this is on OP mainnet. Can you explain what's actually hosted on OP mainnet?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, multiple pieces of what I just talked about are natively supporting OP mainnet. So you can, if you have OP NFTs, you can use those NFT as your profile picture, or you can add it to your profile as in showing off what do you hold. You can use the OP NFTs or token holding for granting access to the platform. Being able to pay contributors as bounties or rewards using either ETH on OP or OP itself. So yeah, pretty much you have any places within the Charmverse platform that touches the blockchain, OP is enabled.
So it really sounds like a one-stop shop for collaborating. You can use Charmverse to coordinate, to collaborate. Also, you can get rewarded if you're a community member who's contributing.
Exactly.
Very cool. And I'd like to dive in more because we have Gunna here with us today. I'd like to talk more about this dedicated system for proposal collaboration. I'm curious, Gunna, was there a pre-existing system that the Optimism Grants Council was using before Charmverse?
No, we had a season that we didn't use anything. We just used the forum and some Google Sheets on the background. We used that season to make the process better, the Grants Council process better. And when I got elected for this season, I went to Dane and I said, "Hey, I want to run ops and we need to get out of the forum." And he said, "Okay, solve it." So I made a research and Charmverse came up. They were a grantee, so we already had a connection with Alex. And I was looking for a platform that needed so much things to accomplish at the same time that Charmverse was kind of one unique, in that sense. We needed a Web3 oriented platform that had proposals tool, that had a web page service integrated, an option to make anything and everything public because we abide by optimism rules there. It had to be adaptable to what we were doing in the sense of what you have in Notion, for example, that you can just open a page and start creating, that sort of adaptability was needed. We needed the platform. Developer team should be reachable to so many things. I mean, Charmverse, it's like this unique tool where you have everything from Notion plus Web3 plus web page plus databases on the back end. That is very useful. And the more we continue to use Charmverse, the more things they are working on. So it's a great tool,
Gunna, if I were to guess, I would hazard to guess that maybe your life has gotten a little easier, maybe a little better since you're transitioning from Google Sheets to Charmverse. Is that a safe assumption?
Yeah, I mean, one of the core transitions was that when we left the forum, we stopped missing proposals. The forum, it's kind of messy to track things down. Charmverse has this great thing that every proposal goes into a database on the back. So we have everything sorted out. We know how much you're asking, what your point of contact and everything on a database. We can put that on a Google Sheet if we need it. They have this export CRV, but it actually makes sense to work there. And you also have this work boards. So I can assign, for example, each reviewer what proposal they should be doing on a daily basis. I mean, it's more than just a notion, you know. It has all these Web3 oriented things that you need for a community, and I love it.
It sounds like Charmverse nailed this specific use case. I'm curious how that came about, Alex. Did you do just a lot of user research before creating this project? Because it sounds like, you know, Gunnar had some things that he needed and you really provided them. So I'm just curious to hear, you know, how you designed.
Yeah, I think building and designing Charmverse is certainly one of the most challenging projects that I have worked on. Partially because I think, you know, there's many people who are in the space right now, right? Like that our space is evolving so quickly. The different use cases evolving so quickly, and how the various technology around the use cases are evolving so quickly. So, and I think that the best way to do that, and certainly what we try to do, is really build with our customers and user base. And Ghana has been an amazing design partner that being able to really be able to show off some capabilities, but then really work with us to figure out like what are these things that what are they trying to achieve, and then from that, how would we build quickly to address specific challenges that are applied applicable across Optimism and other projects as well. So then making a universal tool that is helpful for Web3 community.
Yeah, that's great. Kind of changing gears a little bit here. We mentioned before, Alex, that Charmverse was a recipient of an Optimism grant. Really curious to hear from your perspective how that process went. I don't know if you've been involved in something similar elsewhere, but yeah, maybe just speak to that. How was that experience?
Yeah, so we have gone through a few application process in different grants. So I can very much be able to say that I had one of the best experience with Optimism grants, and I think the experience even better now with Charmverse. But yeah, I think just going just on the top, the value of the mission and mission of the foundation, and the level of transparency and the operation rigor, being able, like the type of questions that the Ghana and team asks of our team, and really making sure that we are providing value to the ecosystem, be able to truly articulate the impact that we bring. Those things, the level of effort and detail show in all the interaction that we had throughout the application process. And that's certainly part of the reason why we're so excited to be working with the Grants Council.
Well, we're super glad to hear that. And thanks once again to the Optimism Grants Council, who is doing a lot of the work here. Speaking of which, Gunnar, you have specific knowledge in this specific realm. So I'm curious, I think a lot of times people are curious if there's anything that they should be doing with their proposal to make it stand out or to make sure it gets approved. Any thoughts there, Gunnar? Any advice you could give to potential proposers?
Yeah, a few. The first one is don't be scared to post your proposal. The process is a 5-week-long process. So if you are putting something that shouldn't be there or something is missing, you'll get your feedback, The other thing is read the scoring tables that we use, because the scoring tables shows exactly what we are looking for and what will score higher, Those are all posted on our landing page right now. So I would say don't be scared, read the scoring tables. Those are my two advices for anyone that wants to apply. Also, this is the last cycle of this season. You can apply for a proposal within this last 10 days, I think. It's until next week for sure.
Yeah, I know. I think there's a lot of information out there, online about submitting a grant proposal. I think probably the most difficult proposition is just for people to sort of sift through all that information and put it together. But yeah, just to tack on to what Gunnar said, I would say that probably just be prepared with your proposal, right? Make sure you cross all your T's and dot all your I's.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would say that for a grant proposal, you need to read like a 15-minute long page that we have. So if you want to bring builders, you go to the builders committee. If you want to bring users, you go to the growth committee section. And from then you have like a 15 minutes reading. That's all. And you can start typing your proposal. We try to make this process as smooth as possible. That's another thing that Charmverse provides us with a landing page where all the information is in just one place, you know.
I'm curious, Alex, when you were putting together your own proposal, did you find it easy enough to find the information you needed to then put your proposal together?
So I think that was one of the areas that having the Grants Council on Charmverse was helpful, because there's a little bit of information being different places. There's some like Notion pages. There's some different places and there's posts on Discord that we need to find. But now all those information are in one place, which I think is a lot easier for an applicant, particularly someone who might be newer to the Optimism ecosystem, to like find all the information. I would also add one recommendation as well as a prior applicant. Do go through a few of the past proposal, both ones that didn't make it and ones that were successful. I think like that, those are just being able to give you a sense of like the level of details, where the focus are. So just give you a much better sense of like, case study on like what are the winning or not winning proposal could look like. And yeah, on Charmverse, these are available to you. You can see sort of past cycles proposal in the last round.
What a great thing that everything is open and public, right? I mean, imagine if you were applying for a job and you were able to see resumes, not only that did make it, but that also were rejected, and you could adjust your own to suit. I think that's really good advice you just offered up, Alex.
Yeah, I think like sometimes being a tool builder, I think we just get so excited about the tools. The tool is really there to support the mission and support the processes that are there, right? So I think for a successful grant program like Optimism, really start off with sort of the right set of mission, vision, and then having just, I would say, world-class execution to make it work.
Yeah, and speaking of putting all this information in one place, the Grants Council has this great homepage, landing page, whatever you want to call it. I think that's a really great resource, a really great first stop for people to go to if they want to submit a grant proposal. If you want to do that, I recommend going to the Grants Council Twitter. That's at Optimism Grants, and you'll find the link to that landing page there from their Twitter profile. Alex, for people that want to learn more or potentially use Charmverse, where would you like to direct them?
Yeah, the best way is just come to our website, which is charmverse.io. And of course, we're with Discord as well. We are pretty active, so jump in if you have any questions. If you are starting your own DAO, if you are launching a set of NFTs, if you are creating digital asset and thinking about building your communities, definitely come check us out. I think it's going to be a worthwhile exploration to see if Charmverse is good for you.
It's an exciting future we find ourselves in with this new remote, decentralized paradigm for work.
Yeah, I think Alex is missing mentioning the free plan that Charmverse has.
Oh, true. Yes. So there is a paid version of Charmverse, but there is a full feature pay plan as well. And the only requirement for that free plan is that 100% of your content are viewable by the public. So I think that's our way of supporting public goods. So yeah, if you are building with the public, showing off your work, you can use Charmverse for free forever.
There you go. I think we're close to winding down here, guys. Is there anything either of you would like to add before we close out this episode of OP Radio?
I will say that apart from the tool, I think one of the greatest things that Charmverse has is the team culture. on their end. I had multiple problems or features that I needed through this season. They were very open to kind of make a meeting, hear me, see what it's good as a tool and what's just a need for Optimism Grants Council only. They have this great team behind that it's a kind of building for what a collective needs, you know?
It's always great to hear that a project is open to user feedback. Very important. And one of the beauties of crypto right now is that a lot of stuff is so new that, yeah, you can have an outsized role in shaping some of these products and features. Okay. Thank you both, Alex and Gunnar, for joining us on OP Radio. Really appreciate it. Special shout out to Gunnar. We really appreciate you and everyone in the Grants Council and all the great work that you do. Thanks for joining us, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we'll catch you next week.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.